So welcome to the next episode of Endoscopy Essentials. And I'm so proud I have a very famous guest, Naohisa Yahagi from Japan. Welcome, Naohisa.
Yeah, thank you very much for your kind
Yeah.
invitation. It's my great honor being here.
Everybody knows your brilliant ESD capacity, but we want to speak a little bit about the man behind ESD
Yeah.
today. So you are just past president of the Japanese Society.
Yes, just for the JDDW meeting this year.
That's a huge honor, I think.
Oh, it was a great honor. We had more than 20,000 participants.
Wow, that's the biggest endoscopy meeting by far.
Yeah, I believe so.
So what was your mission during your presidency? Did you have a motto or?
Just organizing every sessions and inviting important faculty members and give a presidential talk and organize nice faculty dinner, of course.
Yeah, that's almost the most important thing.
Yeah, sure.
I remember when I was responsible for a German meeting a long time ago, the first thing we did is checking out the evening locations.
Yes, sure.
Very good. So in your presidential speech, what was your message?
I just talk about my career. That is the reason why I started the ESD procedure and I have developed my career and what is the aim of the new technique, those kind of stuffs.
Okay, that leads us right into our topic. Why did you go into medicine? Where were you born?
I was born at the northern part of mainland of Japan, which is a very local town and snowy area. And my father was also a medical doctor. He was a gynecologist. And I was planning to be a gynecologist as well. But he mentioned that the gynecology is not your future. So I was recommended to be a cardiologist, but I found that gastroenterology, especially endoscopy procedure, is much more interesting. But because we can diagnose everything by ourselves by endoscopy, and sometimes we have a chance to treat them. That's a really good opportunity for me. In case of being a cardiologist, usually they need a big team to do cardiovascular investigation and treatment.
But they also do a lot of interventions.
Oh, of course. But as a skilled endoscopist, we can do most of the diagnosis or most of the procedure by our own. That's a major difference.
Interesting, because when I was a student, I did a lot of elective periods in cardiology. So there was a time when I was thinking about cardiology again. But I agree, it's the better way into endoscopy, to say the least. And where did you do your medical studies?
I was a student at Niigata University, which is also a little bit north of the mainland. And it is the same university as Professor Shin'e Kudo and also Dr. Mori, Yuichi Mori. He is now very famous for AI research.
So it's a nidus for famous endoscopists. And then how did you end up in Tokyo?
Because I was planning to go to the postgraduate school after graduating medical school, but I was told that it is necessary 2 years residency program before going to the postgraduate school. Therefore, I decided to go to Tokyo to see what's happening at the capital city. And I went to the really famous institution and spent 3 years there. And I was planning to return to original university, which was Niigata University, or go to a different university close to my hometown, which is northern part of Japan, local cities. Yes, because my parents was waiting for me at that time. But during my residency period, I found that endoscopy is really interesting. Therefore, I always went to endoscopy suite, even while I was rotating the other departments, such as cardiology, pulmonology. Then I was recruited to be a member of the Tokyo University.
Because they have seen you all the time there in endoscopy.
Yeah.
So how comes? What was your first encounter with endoscopy? When you, why were you so fascinated?
Because at that time it was only optical fiber endoscope. That's why only the endoscopist could see inside and could diagnose.
Plus a teaching.
Yes.
scope.
Yeah. And it was so attractive. Once somebody well trained, immediately we can diagnose the lesion or cause of disease. That's really attractive thing for me.
So how big is your home city?
My home city is really small city, which has less than 10,000 inhabitants.
And you came to Tokyo when? When was that?
It was 1987.
And that was already a huge city.
Yes, of course.
How was that? Were you frightened, or you
I
just
was
buried in work? And
I was a little bit scared with the big capacity
Yeah.
of the city and lots of people always surrounding there. And especially during the rush hour, I was really shocked because of the large number of people going to the subway and surface train. And sometimes we are kicked out from the crowded
the train.
train and couldn't get in
Oh,
again.
God. So, I mean, is it like in some countries where there's a big capital and the rest of the country thinks these arrogant guys in Paris or London or, I don't know, Berlin, Tokyo, was it the same? So at your hometown, people thought,
Yeah, it's nearly the same situation, I guess.
okay. And so you were attracted to endoscopy?
Yeah.
How is it when you are a young guy in Japan? Do you have to line up, or who is deciding, or who was deciding that you can move forward?
It's quite simple. Just apply to the position of the certain department or certain laboratory, and if the chief allow me to work with them, then I can work only for endoscopy procedure. And
Did you have an interview?
yes, yeah, because one of the co-worker at the Tokyo Teishin Hospital, which was my the hospital which I spent for my residency program, there was a senior doctor coming from the Tokyo University, and he recruited me to join his original university hospital because Tokyo University was the origin of endoscopy research. In the Tokyo University, endoscope itself was developed by the senior doctor, and all the new technology was also developed, the senior member together with Olympus.
So it's like the Vatican of
Yeah,
endoscopy.
yeah.
And
But
you got there?
I didn't know about that situation, but I was I had a chance to be a member of that great team. But at that time, endoscopy research was not so active because molecular biology came in. Therefore, in order to get a PhD, everybody has to do basic research. Actually, I spent 5 years at the Faculty of Science at Tokyo University, and I did molecular biology. And my PhD thesis was the molecular cloning.
Which topic exactly?
It was gene cloning of the activation enzyme from trypsinogen to trypsin. And
okay.
I took many specimens from the duodenum. Currently, I'm fighting the duodenum tumor, so I returned to
Getting
my
back.
roots. Yes.
And do you remember your first encounter, your first interview?
Yes.
How was it?
Oh, if you are really interested in endoscopy procedure, this was the right place that to come. So that was the first recommendation from my senior doctor. That's all. So I just accepted that invitation.
Was there a huge competition?
Oh no! At that time,
No?
endoscopy was regarded as a really basic, non-intelligent part.
So nobody wanted to go.
Oh, that's right.
And then you must have witnessed the appearance of video endoscopy.
Yes, sure.
How was that?
Oh, I was very.
What did people think?
Yeah, I imagine that it was really a big future for us because everybody could share the nice image, and especially for the therapeutic procedure, it becomes quite easy to coordinate everything.
And the other endoscopists in Japan, were they all enthusiastic, or were there people saying, this modern stuff?
Majority of the ordinary endoscopists quite fascinated with video endoscope system. And it was actually far better than optical fiber scope.
Yeah, so the community had a sense of images from very, very early on, right? Yeah. So they thought, this is a new dimension. And you have all these, or you had all these photographic, the photo camera business companies in Japan. So who was the first supplier of a video endoscope at your place?
Olympus, of course.
Olympus.
Yes.
And they came and they cooperated with you?
Yes, of course. Olympus usually strong. Olympus is the main supporter of our laboratory because we ourselves developed the majority of endoscope system and also many devices for therapeutic endoscope. Of course, they are done by my senior doctors.
So there was already a lot of input.
Yes, that's right. There was a very close relationship. Actually, past president of the Japanese Society was Professor Sakita and Professor Niwa. All of them are old member of our laboratory.
Okay, so what was your first impression where this could lead to? I mean, you do a lot of screening, and the initial video images were so compared to nowadays standards. What were your first expectations when you saw this? Do you think that mass screening was made more easy? Was made easier, or?
Initially, I was trained by fiber optic scope, and I took 20 pictures per screening gastroscopy. I was trained like that. So at that time, I was requested to do at least 20 screening gastroscopy within a half day. And sometimes I forced to do 30 gastric screening within a half day. It was really tough situation.
So taking pictures like crazy.
Yeah, that's right. That was my first career. And I did many screening gastroscopy at the beginning, and right after shifting to the video scope, it becomes much easier and less fatigue sense. And I found that it is really fantastic.
There are rumors that there are still huge archives of endoscopic pictures from that area in Japan somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
So the pictures are all there still.
Yes, still the film-based pictures.
Must be millions.
Yes.
So which type of therapy at that time was done, like in the upper GI? Polypectomy in the colon, of course.
Yeah.
But upper GI.
Just EMR, standard EMR, injection and snaring, that's it. So the capability of catching the target lesion was really limited. That's why initial indication of treatment of early gastric cancer was the mucosal region less than 2 centimeters at that time. And even for the small lesion less than 2 centimeters, sometimes it becomes incomplete resection because of the slippage of the snail wire.
So there was cap EMR or just snare EMR and injection?
Initially, we did a lot of snare, just snare EMR. Then I found that it is not sufficient. Then I completely shifted to cap EMR. But even with the cap EMR, complete resection rate was less than 70%. That's why I imagined that we should develop another new technique.
Which was frustrating, huh?
Yes, it was very much frustrating because majority of the incomplete resected the patient goes to surgery and they lose entire stomach at that time. So I felt a little bit guilty not completing the clear margin resection. That was my initial motivation to develop new technique.
So now we are at the entrance of ESD, I guess.
Yeah.
So we are really curious to know how that developed and what the ideas was. So please tell us.
Yeah. So at that time, a slippage from the target lesion, snare wire, was the biggest problem. That's why everybody thought that making a mucosal incision around the target lesion before applying snare wire would be helpful. Therefore, senior doctor who was working at the Hokkaido local institution made a mucosal incision using needle knife. Needle knife was very rigid and having 4 millimeter length. It's sometimes really dangerous, making immediate perforation or severe bleeding. That's why it was not well accepted. And
so this was a kind of a hybrid EMR, right?
Yes,
circumcision
that's right.
and then snaring.
That's right. And Dr. Hosokawa, who was working at the National Cancer Center, had the idea placing the glass tip at the tip of the needle knife would be helpful to avoid the perforation during the mucosal incision. But unfortunately, glass tip easily broken. That's why Olympus gave a chance to develop a new insulated tip, and they provided the ceramic tip instead of using glass tip. Therefore, it was the beginning of IT knife.
Which was the first knife?
Yes, it was developed
after needle knife, which was not suitable.
Yeah. It was developed in 1996. That was the first prototype. But because of the insulation at that tip, it didn't cut well. So it was very difficult. But Dr. Ono developed a special technique. Just press down the endoscope like this. Then they could cut the mucosa one by one. But it was relatively slow, but also there was a really big chance of having severe bleeding. And Dr. Yamamoto, who is very famous for double barrel endoscopy, had another idea, creating really thick submucosal fluid cushion by injecting a hyaluronic acid solution. And he made a nice mucosal incision without making perforation or without touching very thick blood vessel located lower part of the submucosal layer.
So using which knife? Again, the IT knife?
No, he used just a needle knife, but
a conventional one.
He used a short-sized needle knife, which usually used for the pre-cutting for the papilla. 3 millimeter length, slim type needle. And my idea was completely different. If I can use a blunt-ended, short-sized, flexible knife, I imagined that I could avoid making perforation or cutting thick blood vessel within the deeper part of the submucosal layer. That's why I decided to use the only tip of the thin-type snare as a cutting device. But I tried to cut the living tissue with the tip of the thin-type snare. It didn't cut well because I used just Olympus a very primitive RF generator at that time. But fortunately, in 1999, Abe came to Japan and started releasing ICC 200. So I was so lucky working together with Abe guys. I tested the cutting ability of the SynType snare, and surprisingly, it cut so well. So I talked with my surgeon and also with my patient and carefully explain my idea how to make a nice mucosal incision and how to place the snare wire to remove the entire region in an unblocked fashion. And it was easily accepted.
Well, it's interesting, how these things come together, right?
Yeah.
So it's the modification of the knife first, and then you get to a certain stopping point, and then you inject, and then you make a small progress, and then a new current comes in.
Yeah.
When was this explosion of knives? So you said you started 96, and the current was 3 years later.
Yeah.
And that means how many ESDs in between? 500 or 300?
There was no ESD at all at that time. Just making a mucosal incision.
And snare.
Yeah.
Still at that stage.
Yeah. Yes.
So the dissection came later.
That's right. And when I started my procedure using SynType tip of SynType snare, I started in 1999 because Abe ICC 200 came to Japanese market, and I also just made a circumferential mucosal incision before applying snare wire. And also the indication of endoscopic resection is mainly small region less than 2 centimeters. Therefore, we don't have to make a submucosal dissection. But I had a chance to treat the large gastric adenoma located at the posterior wall of upper gastric body. Therefore, it was around 5 centimeter sized lesion, but apparently it was completely benign because of the whitish, homogeneous flat elevation. Therefore, after making circumferential mucosal incision, I dissected the small part of the submucosal tissue in order to make it shrink. So initially, I was just planning to make it shrink and apply snare wire. But as a result of having lesion at the posterior side of the gastric wall, the dissected area spontaneously opens and falling down according to the gravity.
And then you said, why don't I go on?
Yeah, that's right. And that was my first experience, completely removed the big lesion by just dissecting the submucosal tissue. It was late 1999.
Interesting.
It was really surprising experience. Then I tackled also for the gastric cancer located at the gastric angles. And I could dissect the entire submucosal tissue using the same knife and the same technique, and completely removed by...
But what type of knife?
It was just a
snare.
A tip of SynType snare.
And when did the knives come in, the other knives?
I asked Olympus to develop a new device, which is more user-friendly, because SynType snare was quite tiresome to adjust the knife length, and unfortunately, tip becomes easily dirty and easily broken. That's why I asked Olympus to develop a new device which is suitable for making mucosal incision. But Olympus didn't accept my idea, and Pentax came to me, and they proposed to collaborate together. At that time, Pentax was not accepted by the Japanese endoscopists because of the difference of the quality of the endoscope image. Even though they already have a video endoscope system, the image quality was much less than Olympus endoscope. Therefore, nobody wants to use it. but they came to Tokyo University and sent us one video scope. And of course, nobody wants to use it.
So you were an outlaw.
Yes, and only myself was using that. And fortunately, at that time, only Pentax has water irrigation system. Of course, Olympus Fuji already developed the water irrigation system, but it's only for the Western market. It was not delivered.
No water for Japan.
No, because we wash the lumen again and again before starting actual inspection. Therefore, water irrigation system integrated to endoscope was not
necessary.
Yeah. But Pentax had the water irrigation system inside the endoscope, and also they had the idea to develop the small-sized forceps for coagulation of blood vessel. Therefore, we worked together to develop the hemostatic forceps from the beginning. And because I found that the chance of bleeding after making mucosal incision is quite high, therefore, I really wanted to have the specific device which I can control the bleeding. That was the right timing to develop the new hemostatic forceps.
Another important step.
Yeah.
And we are at the year 2000, or?
It was starting from 1999, and we developed a new prototype around 2000. Then my senior doctor, who was the president of the JSGE, Professor Niwa, get really angry with my attitude because the Tokyo University was historically closely working only together with Olympus, because majority of the senior doctor worked together and developed the new material together with Olympus. That's why Professor Niwa really get angry with my.
There was this rebel Yahagi somewhere. Ah, okay.
Yeah. But he didn't know that the Olympus declined my request. Therefore, I spoke my situation. Olympus declined to develop a prototype of a new device. Then Professor Niwa asked the senior member of Olympus, actually director of R&D department, quickly came to my lab and talked about the future of collaboration.
It's always how to find the right button.
Yes, yes. Then suddenly prototype came in, and we started using for the clinical procedure.
Which knife is that?
It was Flex knife.
The Flex knife.
Yes, Flex knife developed in 2000, and I found that the Flex knife was really good, and I did many gastric ESD, esophageal ESD, and even colorectal ESD. And I was probably first guy who did the pure colorectal ESD procedure using cutting device. Then I found that it is also tiresome to adjust the knife length, and it becomes dirty. Therefore, I really want to have more specific device for making mucosal incision and submucosal dissection. Then I designed carefully, and then it turns to dual knife.
Okay, the rest is history. It's not so much has changed since then. I think now the exciting thing is clinical indications.
Yeah, sure.
Which are expanding, and we have closure, etc. One question: you always have been very, very focused. Did you never miss, I don't know, EOS, ERCP?
Initially, I was doing also ERCP, EUS as a general endoscopist, but new professor came to Tokyo University. Previously, our system was a little bit different from now. Previously, I was belonging to the first department of the internal medicine at Tokyo University, And within the first department of the internal medicine, every disease can be treated within the first department of the internal medicine. That means there is some group for cardiology, some group for pulmonology, for nephrology, and we are focusing on gastroenterology. And the other group are focusing on only hepatology. That's why.
And this is where ERCP was?
Yes.
Okay.
But after unifying first department, second department, the third, fourth, every department had the GI group. So we are unified by the new professor. That was the policy of the university, completely unified, divided by organ organ. Therefore, we are unified and become a department of gastroenterology. Then, new professor not allow me to do ERCP or EUS, and we are completely separated, and we are just allowed to focus on GI tract.
But there's so much to do, with gastric cancer, esophageal cancer.
That's right.
So you were finally happy with that?
Yes, I was so happy because I was just focusing on endoscopic resection already. So I could work only for endoscopic resection. That was my happiest moment.
Because I guess you are a perfectionist, and you probably wouldn't accept it that you do a little bit here and a little bit there and nothing really well. Huh?
No.
Yeah. Well, that's the story of ESD and the development was fascinating. So what's the person Naohisa Yahagi behind the ESD? What do you like to do when you don't think about ESD? You travel a lot?
Yes, the traveling around the world is really exciting for me. Of course, it's mostly conference, but by attending lots of different conferences around the world, I could make a really good friendship. That was the precious moment for me. Actually, I'm talking to Thomas right now. Probably without doing active endoscopy procedure, I couldn't make friends with you or any other German colleagues.
And we are still a relatively small community.
Yeah.
And I think, as far as I know, you like good wines?
Yes, sure.
Do you have a collection at home?
Yes. I'm keeping more than 300 bottles of wine.
But you're always away, so...
Yes.
And it must be red wine, because you can't keep white wine for so long.
Yeah.
And do you also go to do sightseeing when you go to other countries?
Sometimes, but I usually don't have enough time. After giving my lecture, if there is short time, I can walk around. That's all. But sometimes my friend invited me to his own house or mountain house. Actually, Terry Ponchon invited me to his mountain house. Therefore, if I have enough time, I could enjoy.
And that's 1,000 times better than as a tourist.
Yeah, that's right.
You see the country.
That's right.
And at home, do you have any interests you follow?
I'm a great fan of sports such as tennis, skiing, but not a fan of watching TV sports. Therefore, I try to.
You go there?
Yes, but living in Tokyo City, it's quite difficult to have a chance to do tennis.
And skiing? Do you come back to your home city?
The previously, yes, but now it becomes also very difficult because I have to spend at least 5 hours to go to my hometown by car.
Okay, otherwise you would have to fly, which is not much shorter, I guess. Okay, Naohisa, we'll meet again for ESD, of course, but of course everybody wants to know who is the guy behind ESD, and thank you very much for telling us all these interesting stories. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It was my great pleasure.